Yeah. Well, people management is probably the main thing that would, set up a good business like this, which then leads me on to, um, what sort of impact do you think it would have if you weren't doing the hiring? Say if you say you delegate to someone and you've hired someone to hire someone for you,
Yeah.
and they did, but you didn't agree with it. How would you go about changing that?
So, that has happened. We have seen that. We're all human beings, and it's natural when you're sat across an interview table with someone, and you happen to maybe mention a comment about, did you see the footy at the weekend? You're a footy fan, and they're like so animated and so into it. It's like, oh yeah, I really like this person. To want to hire them because you see yourself in them, there's some sort of reflection or rapport there, and that's actually a mistake, because for a company to work well, yes, you need certain shared core values so we get along. But to have everyone the same would be a mistake, would be sheep then. There would be no specialities. We need the introverts and the extroverts and all that sort of stuff. So I'd really try and implore managers to, before you hire, look at your own weaknesses and see, what do you not have? What's missing from you and your department? What is that thing that you need? And then how are you going to find that in an interview before I let them go at it? And sometimes I'll sit in and sometimes I won't, because again, getting back to delegation, I can't hire every single person. If I do that, I'm holding the company back, because I've only 40 hours in a week, or maybe you could say 60, but there's a certain limit there. So you have to, I guess, just try and educate your senior management team and your hiring managers on what you've learned, and try and be a conduit, like try and feed all that through and pass it through as much as possible. And I've been on the receiving end of like specialized leadership programs and stuff where I've been taught this stuff, and I'm sort of going on about this, banging this drum a lot with managers about what they're looking for and what sort of questions they're asking in interviews and stuff, and are they asking the right questions.
So if you bring it back to the Speed Mentoring Club, then obviously you don't know everything, as you said. But if someone came to you, like a CEO came to you and he was asking you a few questions, and you thought to yourself, well, I've never dealt with this before, or I've never come across this aspect of this problem, or I don't really have a solution for you, what would you do?
So that can happen a lot, and that's okay, because if someone's got a problem and they can't solve it, well, two heads are better than one. So what normally would happen there is we try and fix it together. It's a team effort. I know it's a bit like a game of table tennis. Someone might have an idea, it might be a good idea, and they might throw it on the table, and I might say, yeah, that's really great, and if you thought about this, this, and this, and bat it back to them, and they're like, yeah, that's great as well, and actually we could do this, this, and this on top of that, and then all of a sudden it's grown into something like a total monster that doesn't even look anywhere near the original idea. And one person couldn't have done it by themselves, and two people going off separately couldn't have came up with it, but two together playing that game of ping pong can really make magic happen. So I don't think I've ran into something yet that couldn't be solved. Everything can be fixed, and sometimes you have to go away and do a bit of research and come back, or I'll if there's say a marketing challenge, I would come and talk to one of you guys, or an accountancy challenge, I would leverage the network that I have, some of my own people or some people that I know that are specialists in different fields, and come back with an answer. But there's no such thing as a no in my book. Like, there's always a way.
Is that where the club element came from, the mentoring club?
Yes, absolutely. I never intended to set this up as Paul Creighton Mentoring, because I'm only one person again, and that would only bring a very limited skill set to the table and a very limited number of hours. And I need to practice what I preach. So if I was to tell a client, think big, think way beyond yourself. If you're an electrical contractor or something like that, don't be thinking, Mid-Ulster Electrics or whatever region you're from. Think about national. You might never get to be national, but if you think that way and fall short, maybe you cover, a larger zone than you initially set out to. So from day one, I've been thinking along the lines of a club or a network of business mentors. I'm only the first one of hopefully many over, a period of 10 years. We'll build this with different specializations and skill sets, because there's a lot of need out there. I've heard it said before, it's a lonely place at the top, and I didn't fully appreciate that until we hit February, March this year. And it is lonely at the top. Think about it in terms of parenting. You have your spouse, or you're maybe working with someone else on co-parenting your kids. But imagine if you never had a conversation with any other human being on the planet about your issues with your kids. All of us talk to someone about those problems. You maybe talk to your own parents, oh, my kids are doing this and I don't know what to do. Or a sibling, or, someone at the school gates, he's not doing his homework as much as he used to. But imagine if you never got to do that and it was just all on you. No other form of advice ever. That's what happens to some business people and people in other forms of leadership, like maybe, head teachers in schools and different things. It's not just business, it's other aspects. You have to go and do this by yourself, and there's no real forum to go and share. And even for someone else to say, yeah, me too, I've that same problem, that happened to me. And then for that person to say, okay, I've been beating myself up, I didn't fail, I'm not a failure, this is hard. There's a little bit of validation needed there as well.
Mm-hmm. So basically, trying to bridge the gap of the something. Did you ever get mentored, or do you have a mentor?
Yes. So I formally, about 2 years ago, went on a mentoring program provided by government, and got psychometric testing done. I'm not sure if they were coming with a white van for me after that, in a padded room, but got that done just to see where your blind spots are, your weaknesses, and so on. And had a business mentor for about a year there, and actually developed a good friendship with that mentor, and we still keep in touch on a social level, and we talk about a business and stuff too. And I found that incredibly useful, really, really useful, because a lot of the time he would have said to me, no, you guys are doing great. In fact, you've already done all this sort of stuff that I was going to suggest, and what more can we look at? And I would be sitting there on my own at the top table, as it were, thinking, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? Am I good enough at this? Am I failing at that? And he was able to come in and say, that's awesome, you guys are brilliant at this. And, and maybe he found some low-hanging fruit that we could work on, and some things that we could improve upon. And actually he came out of here with some ideas for his own business and said, I like that, and I like this thing, and tell me about that more. And I felt like a little bit more, go easy on yourself.